Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing well. This is an extensively random video, but I thought it actually might be interesting. So lately we've been cleaning out the basement and my dad came across this box, and this is a bunch of old art supplies he had from university, so it's like 40-ish years old. We're not going to get into specifics or you might not see me next week, but he gave me this box and said, you know, he doesn't care about any of it and for me to go through it, because the last time we were cleaning out and going through old boxes, he actually found a bunch of really awesome stuff. He found these old Winsor & Newton watercolor paints, which I haven't actually tried them out yet because I wanted to make a dedicated video to see if, you know, age did anything to them. He found a bunch of super awesome sable brushes. Like, there was literally a Winsor & Newton Series 7 one, which kind of started me on the dark path of being really into those brushes, and just a bunch of really awesome stuff. So I don't really know what is in this box other than it is vaguely art supplies. He is an architect, so it's not like super like fine art if you were going as for a fine artist, but he did need art supplies for school, so there is definitely tends to be a bunch of stuff that I would find useful possibly. So I figured we would just go through this box together and see what's in here. So here's what's inside the box. Like I said, I really have not touched anything. I just took a couple of things that had his name on it just for, you know, privacy reasons, but other than that I really have no clue what is in here, and he just kind of barely looked through it and kind of gave me the rundown of what he sort of saw in here as well. So first thing on top, we have this tweezer set, which is very interesting. It does look like a few are missing from this, but I will definitely be able to use these for different like model making things and stuff. They're just basically, you know, needle nose tweezer type of thing, and yeah, I'm sure I will find a use for those, so they will be super handy. I think I did end up seeing one floating around in the bottom of this box, so we will grab that when we get to it. I can like barely see in this box because it's like so deep, so I might start taking some stuff out. So let's go into this pencil case maybe and see what's in here. Okay, so this I think might be the only pencil case in the box, and generally from past happenings tends to be, yep, old markers. I'm actually going to see if any of these work. These particular ones are Pantone by Letraset. So I don't even think they make these anymore. Correct me if I'm wrong. This is, I feel like, going to be a bunch of like, I don't know exactly what this is, if they make them anymore, yada yada. So actually let me grab a scrap of paper and we will see what these actually, if they work and what they look like. So this particular one is Pantone Warm Gray, if it works, which doesn't look, oh, I was gonna say doesn't look hopeful from the nib, but it does in fact work extremely well considering how old this marker should be. I'm assuming it is alcohol based. It definitely has that old marker scent, like really old marker scent. Like smells a lot more than they did. Just from how it's reacting, I'm going to assume that this is probably alcohol based or something even more toxic. This says it's drawing leads, and indeed it is drawing leads. So these are the kind that are like for those pencils, I'm assuming, that, do I have one? I think they're called drafting pencils. It's like the mechanical pencils that use the thicker leads that you like sharpen these, so it's not quite like a mechanical pencil. This is definitely, does it say, okay, blue tip is 5S. No idea what that means, so because of how much it's coming off of me, I'm going to assume that it's like, actually, maybe that is like a 5H. Might actually have a use for those in the future, so they are interesting, especially in their little container that they have here. More leads. These they basically still make because even I have some that still sort of look like this. Do they actually say, okay, this one is definitely HB. How do you get into these? I don't think that's how you get into these. There appears to only be one in there, maybe a broken part of another, but like I said, I already have some of those, so I can see if I can actually remember how to get these out. Look at possibly using those, maybe just putting them in my container, because there's kind of no reason to hang on to this entire thing for one lead. Next, we have a calligraphy pen. This, yeah, that's completely dried out. Although it did look like it's like a more chisel nibbed as opposed to like a brush pen style, which I guess would be more typical of an older calligraphy pen. It does say it's made in Japan. He's still really into these calligraphy types of pens, so no surprise there. I'm just gonna throw this one out though, seeing as it's not working anymore. We have a pretty traditional type of ballpoint pen. He literally still uses just an atrocious amount of these. Looks the exact same too, so I just might throw that at him and say, here's one of your pens. We have another Pantone by Letraset marker. This one is just a name code, but it looks like a nice light blue, and yes it is. Probably shouldn't have done that considering how much these markers smell. This looks... It says art marker, it looks like a paint pen, it appears to be in blue. Oh, yeah, it's more actually of like a marker. Ooh, still has that very alcohol-y, I don't even know if it's actually alcohol. It has that very, if you've like opened old markers before, you will know the scent that I'm talking about. Oh, we have more of those leads in a different tip color, I'm assuming. Yes, so these ones are the yellow ones. So according to this little chart, yellow would be number 3S. So whatever lead that equates to, this is a different lead hardness. Actually, if we do this, yeah, that one's definitely seems darker. So maybe these don't actually, like, the numbers do not actually equal the equivalent of like 3H, 5B, that kind of thing. It's like their own sort of system. Another one of these blue markers, I literally, is this the same as this one? No, this is blue 0 and blue 1. Obviously very into the blue. Probably for sky for building stuff. This one, black. This, I'm gonna assume also works. Yep, that is really nice and pigmented. We have turquoise drawing leads. See what I mean? They have these ones actually have the end sharp, so I can show you. So I do have a pencil that can use these, so I will most likely keep these as well. They say there are 10 in here, but there appears to only be 5 left. Very interesting. Here we have another calligraphy type of pen, again in that chisel style. This one actually looks like it might work. And yes, it does. It's a little spotty, but that could have just been the type of marker that it is. This keeps on getting me anyway. This, what is this? Instructions for who knows what eraser shield. Okay, that's typical eraser shield stuff. Is it in here? We will find out in a bit. This just looks like a pretty typical drawing tool, although it's obviously being used a lot considering how cracked it is, unless it's just the age that kind of did that in it being in this box, but it's really cracking up, so I think I'm just gonna toss that one out. We have a fine point pen, which not looking too hopeful considering all of the, oh, it does write a bit. Is this blue? It looks kind of bluish, but I think it's just the separation of the ink from age because that tip is not looking fantastic. These two look, actually they do not look the same, but let's see, does this actually have a name on it? This is just a micro by it's a Uniball Micro by Faber-Castell, so interesting. So it's just a ballpoint pen, it looks like, which it does in fact still work pretty much. It's actually, the lead on this is, or the ink on this is a lot deeper and smoother than I would expect from a ballpoint pen, because this just looks like a pretty, you know, typical ballpoint pen. Especially because it is definitely Uniball branded and Faber-Castell branded, and I do not believe that Faber-Castell owns Uniball anymore. So interesting. This just says stylist, and I would assume, yeah, this looks like a fine tip, yeah, pen at one point, just kind of like, you know, Copic style tip, but that is completely busted out, which it might have been busted even before it kind of got to this time period. He might have used that to its death. Another one of the favorite pens. This is a very interesting tiny pen. or something. It kind of looks like a water brush, and I'm kind of scared to open it because I do not want black ink everywhere. This, oh. Okay, well I cannot get the top off of this, but there was some sort of ink cartridge in here, so it might actually have been some sort of brush pen type utensil. Like literally this thing is not coming off, so we're just gonna leave that a mystery. More black pen. Pilot fine liner. Will this work? It does look hopeful, and indeed it does. So this is more of that, it's not quite like Copic style, it has just more of that felt fine tip sort of look. They definitely still make very similar pens to these. This one looks very similar. What is this one? Doesn't appear to really have any branding, and it is also one of those fine point felt tip sort of pens that again looks in pretty good shape, but a little sketchy unless it always kind of looked like that. But I would assume that this type of pen would have deeper ink than that normally. Again with the black pens, this one is another Uniball Faber-Castell one. This one is another ballpoint pen, except it looks like it has a thicker nib that doesn't work nearly as smoothly as the other one. You have another tiny ink cartridge pen thing that this one appears to have a blue, the other one had gray, so it could be more like ink wash pens, just literally guessing at this point. This one does seem like this top is going to come off though, maybe. Might have jinxed myself. There we go. Oh, so it's one of those pens. Okay, this is one of those ones that it's like the refillable Copic style ones where it doesn't actually have the nib. I doubt it's going to work because I bet all of the ink is dried up in that. Yeah. Can you refill this? You can. Yeah, the ink is like all crusty in there. So that's interesting. I probably could refill that, but they do still make pens like this. I'm not entirely sure what they're called, but they're like the refillable fine tip ones where they don't actually have that felt nib. The ink just kind of flows out the end, but it doesn't have a ball like a ballpoint pen. More Pantone Letraset markers. This one is another warm gray one in a different warm gray. Yes, that looks like it's a different shade percentage or however they numbered those ones. We have another calligraphy pen. This one, ooh, is in a thicker chisel, I believe, than the last one. Ooh, and it's purple. Hopefully it was always supposed to be purple, or else this is a very interesting change of ink color over time. Not working fantastically, but definitely in better working order than some of them. Another one of these pens that I'm also going to assume is probably not going to work because of the age of the ink. Oh, this one actually is a Koh-i-Noor one, so interesting. They might all be that, except it's showing better on this one. Nope, that one is definitely says Leroy on it or something, so he's got a bunch of different ones of these in different brands. Because these are on top, we have some leads. There's nothing in that one, so epic job keeping that around in the basement for 40 years. This one, they literally still make these leads and they look pretty identical. Like I probably could pull some lead packs that I have that literally look the exact same as that. So that's interesting. This particular one is 0.5 millimeter in HB. We have an eraser that looks very used. And it is very hard, and I do not actually think it would work. Did I use a pen? Yes, we did have pencil here. Actually, because it is so hard, it might actually work pretty well, but I think I'm going to get rid of that because I really do not need extensively hard half-used erasers lying around. And what do you know? Another one of those pens. And we have another one of those pens. Another fine liner in 0.6. This one is like real messed up nib too, but it does actually work. It's like these weird blue crystals from the age of it. Another one that looks like that in 0.4 millimeter, again with the crystallization at the end, but again it does actually still work. Another one of these shorter alcohol markers, this one in black, and as with all of the alcohol markers, they do appear to still be in working order. Another Pantone one, another warm gray one. This is just from different building drawings. I'm sure that he needed the different gray tones to more easily depict values. Have another pen, it is another one of those felt ones that does not work, and this one was in red, obviously, at one point. This one looks almost like that red one, just in black. Oh, nope, it's more like a Copic style nib there, and does it work? Yes, it does. It actually writes pretty perfectly. Another rolling pen. Yeah, so that it looks like one of those ones that is refillable, but it's like, you know, those straight edge metal nibs, which I'm assuming is, oh, it does work a little, maybe. That might have been the last leg of ink in this one. And this one is by Pilot. So this appears to be one of those lead holders, if I can remember. I think yep, it does have lead in here. So yeah, this actually has one of those leads that are in like these style containers in it, and this actually feels really nice. Like, it's nice and heavy. This piece feels like metal, so I might actually use this pen itself. And with the lead already in it, doesn't appear to be too soft. It might actually be around the HB region. But yeah, that feels really nice to write with, and I like how it doesn't actually have any of the like clip things on the side, so it's just nice and smooth. We have another of the lead packets. This one, it says it's blue. Ooh, fun. Let me steal one of these to try it out. And it is in fact blue lead. Very interesting. Might definitely use that. Another one of these ink pen things, like, again, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to get one of these to work. That one pen was definitely like one-off one of getting these types of refillable ones to work. This one is like crazy fine though. Like, holy. That is like real needle puny compared to the other ones. This one says it's 0.13. I mean, apparently the caps might have had their millimeterage on the outside this whole time, and I just did not pay attention to it. And again, we have another one of these. This one is in 2 millimeters. If we open it up, yep, that definitely is a ton thicker than before. But if I can figure out a way to refill these, I might actually keep them. And the last thing in this, other than that lead pack, is another one of those erasers, and this one is in slightly better condition, although not much, still pretty used. And then we have another, this one is an H hardness that's again 0.5 millimeters. So that was the entirety of that pencil case. Some pretty interesting stuff in there, but let's get back to the box and see what else is around. So for some of the random stuff that's just laying on top here, this appears to be a calculator in the box, possibly. It definitely feels like it's in there still. Don't exactly need that. This is rulers. I believe this is a slide ruler. I will definitely correct that if I'm wrong. We have one of those binder keeper plastic things that are kind of on, like, you know, basically just to keep pages together. No idea, just like a spine of a book type of thing. I'm sure you know what this is. This is way too much explanation. This replacement cable, this might, it literally still has the Curry's price tag on it. This might be for like a drafting table just because of what it says it is, and the pieces in it kind of look drafting table-ish. So he still has one of those, so I will see if he could use this because I do not have a drafting table nor need one. So who knows if this is actually the right size, but you know, it would be more useful for him than me. We have old white glue that I really do not need if it is still in working condition. This is, ooh, pencil crayons. Prismacolor pencil crayons. Wow. Set of 12. Are they all in here? Let's see. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. Missing one, dude. What'd you do with it? That is very interesting. I'm gonna put those off to the side. Ooh, they actually have in, you know, 40-ish years ago, apparently Prismacolor made 60 colors in 5 different art sets. They now make 150. Very interesting. I'm gonna swatch these once I have this box out of the way just to see if they still feel like the current Prismacolors. This, oh, it's a belt sander thing. Oh my god, I've been trying to get one of these. It's a sanding stick. I don't know if this particular one would be considered a sanding stick, but yeah, I've been looking at needing to get one of these, so if I get belts for this, I'm 1,000,000% using this thing. I probably could just cut some sandpaper to use on this. So this is definitely getting used for prop building for me. This is a bag of interesting who knows whatchamacallits. Oh, okay, they are just literally hole reinforcement pieces or something. Is that the cloth tape that I saw in here? I don't know what these are. They are like cloth hole reinforcement pieces that may or may not have a specific purpose, but regardless, I probably do not require these for any purpose. Okay, yeah, gummed reinforcements. Wow. Read the package, Michaela. That would go great. Yeah, so they are just circle hole reinforcements. They still make those. They're just now probably way easier to use and don't require, in theory, adding water or something to them. This, what is this? These are just address labels, pretty self-explanatory. This looks interesting and very noisy. Okay, they are push pins that I do not really want all over the place, so those are going back in this white container. Here we have cloth tape, which just kind of looks like electrical tape. Here we have one of the missing tweezers. Put those with the others. Let's see, what else? Oh, we have another set of tweezers. I might actually end up finding the whole set in this box. Here we have a mathematical drawing set, though it doesn't, yeah, definitely not in there, although this container is very interesting and I might keep it to repurpose it. This is paper fasteners, so metal clippy things that I have no idea how to use because they were before my time. I'm gonna pull these containers out and we're gonna look at them so I'm not like this in the box. Before we get to all of that, I'm going to actually swatch these Prismacolor pencils and see what they feel like. Let's go for a color. What is this? This is purple. Yeah, they maybe aren't quite as waxy as they are now, but they definitely still like feel like that same vibe, if that makes sense. So yeah, I might keep those just to have around as extra colors. Very interesting to see old Prismacolors, especially since they are one of my most used art tool now. Let's do shoebox first. This looks like a bunch of stuff that's way more architecture-y based and not so much me based. Oh, screwdriver, I could use that one. We'll put that up to the side. We have some clamps that I definitely could get some use out of for prop making and stuff, as long as they still flex. They feel a little rusty. This one feels better than this one. This is just looks like a bunch of like random adhesives and stuff, so I'm actually not going to go through all this. Like there's tape, there's some screwdriver stuff. This is they are toothpicks. I forget what he used those for. Some tiny paintbrushes. This looks like it's more model making stuff that he had, so not gonna go through all of that. In the very bottom there's this template for lettering, and this feels and looks like they are eraser refills, which they could come in very handy. Hopefully I might come across what these fit into so that I could use them possibly. And the last two things in the box are these cups. This one is like just cracking like crazy, so let's deal with this first. We have a glue stick. These are, oh yes, these are staples for a particular type of stapler. Drawing clip with stuff in it. Definitely could make some use out of that. Some lettering ink. This just looks like an ink refill, so that's definitely probably not going to be handy anymore. We have Dymo tape, I'm pretty sure is what you would call it, basically the like tapey stuff that goes in a Dymo machine. Oh, So this is the instruction for the apparent electric eraser, which I do not see, but that appears to be what those giant long eraser, these guys, were for. So these might actually still fit in my eraser. I could like cut them down and use them, because I do not think that this has been found yet, nor might be found. But it's very interesting that it's the Koh-i-Noor brand, because that is still around and I still use a lot of their products. Down farther, this is the end part of a pen, it looks like. That was the ink refills were for. And this just seems like more ink. This one actually is still liquidy. It is apparently waterproof Black India ink, so I might actually try that out to see what it's like, because it is still, for the most part, although it could just be it's separated. Yeah, it does look like it's separated, and like the binding agent is still liquid and the actual ink particles itself are solidified. And then in here it just appears to be like particular refills for different types of pens and stuff. We have whiteout of different kinds, and these appear to be, whoops, the actual nibs for different types of pens. This one looks a lot more interesting. Oops, we have another ink refill here. Put that over there. Oh, is this? No, it is not. I was gonna say, is this the missing Prismacolor? It isn't, but because this is like the separate one, I would say maybe this was the color missing in that one and he used it up and had to buy a separate green pencil. So green colored pencil. We have one of those multi-pen end things. Yeah, there we have it. The two different colors. Apparently he was way more a fan of the blue than the red. Another one of those pens, although this one is completely used up, and this one also is pretty much used up. Oh, a different kind of blue pen. I'm shocked. Oh, that's because it's not a pen? It kind of looks like a felt tip. Where is that piece of paper? Here's the piece of paper. This, yes, it is blue. Very light blue, which is interesting. This looks like, yeah, it's one of those felty kind of pens. Does this one work? No. Pretty typical pencil. We have more of those leads. This one is in H, and they look to be a brand new set. Let's go through the leads since they're kind of in the way. This one is a 2B set. And then we have another turquoise one, which is another blue one, a full blue one. Yes, definitely going to be using these. This also leads? Yes, it is. No, it isn't. Is it? It is a Faber-Castell thing. Oh, yes, they are leads. What color are these ones? They're just pretty standard pencil leads, although these ones say for film, so I might look into what these were originally used for. A Papermate Right Bros medium point. This just looks like a thicker ballpoint pen that again is no longer working. Another one of those Faber-Castell film pencil type of things. This one says F on it. What does the other one say? F2. So maybe the F is like for the particular kind of film thing. I have no idea what these were originally for, but this one has definitely had ones used out of it, and this one appears to be brand new. Yeah, this one's definitely brand new. We have a Prismacolor white. Is it like a grease pencil or a normal colored pencil? Oh, is that the one that's missing? What color is this? It is yellow. I bet this is the missing one, because it is a Prismacolor one, so we're going to put this with the rest of them. So I do in fact have all 12 Prismacolors all here. There you go. We have a knife, very dangerous, just kind of have loosey-goosey like that, but okay. This looks like, yep, more waterproof drawing ink. This one actually you can see the separation of it. So it looks like the, unless I very much doubt he would have owned yellow ink. I'm just going to guess because you can see like the black in the bottom here that it's like it's just separated over time. Last few things. This appears to be just a ballpoint pen that doesn't work. We have a blending stump, a flashlight, more ink, this one well loved and completely used up. This is another flashlight. What's with all the flashlights? And the last two things in this tin, this one, yep, is more staples, and this one is actually an eraser in a very interesting shade of green. Is this pencil? Yes, it is. Super hard, just I would assume the rubber over time has aged to be extra hard, but that is interesting to see like a different kind of eraser. I don't even know if they make like weird green erasers like this anymore. So I know that was a bit of a different video, but I hope you enjoyed seeing what some 40-year-old art supplies look like and how in some cases they actually haven't changed that much over those 40 years and pretty much still make the exact same products. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.